witness. Yahweh's been good to me. So good to me. Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be. Mr. Wilson would've known. Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me. So good to me. Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me. So good to me. Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be. Mr. Wilson would've known. Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me. So good to me. Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me. So good to me. Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611.
Shalom, Israel. We about to get today's lesson started. Just give me a quick second. Cool. What's going on, everybody? You know what it is. It is Wednesday, and it is your time of the day and your time of the hour for you to be watching this lesson. World history with True Nathan, from Isaac unto Jacob, going through the book of Genesis, the beginnings, the origins of all things righteous and spiritual, and how would you say that? Supported by the Most High God, Yahweh, and His Son Yahweh Shai, knowing the chosen seed, which you already found out last week through Abraham. So now the lineage is going to continue. In case you're not aware, in case you didn't know, this is a message for Israelites, but at this point in particular time, these weren't necessarily Israelites. They were the predecessors. No different, no difference as far as chosen and righteousness. Is just that Israel, as we know today, and which became the covenant promise that Abraham had fulfilled, didn't exist yet. But that's why it's good to understand some of the former things so that we can understand the current things as well. So with that being said, we're picking back up in Genesis chapter 21. In my Bible, it's got sometimes, some subheaders. Mine says the birth of Isaac. So let's know what's going on with this. Yours may not, but just know what we're getting into. So last we left off, Abraham, just to summarize and recap on Abraham. Abraham, devoted, faithful to the Most High God, Yahweh, and as we're going to see in the scriptures in a minute, very studious, very industrious, a prince, basically. And I don't say the word prince lightly. Prince takes certain qualifications to be considered as a title, a prince in this Bible. Abraham had everything from the foundation of the sky, and then from everything else, the business was going down, the covenants with the other nations was going down. Abraham was being used by the Most High to restore order and balance. But obviously, as we know, the Most High needed more than just Abraham. He needed his seed, which would multiply and increase as the Most High covenanted and promised. And the Most High gave that promise for a reason, because he's going to use that seed of Abraham to fulfill his will on the earth. Because once again, since the fall of man, the fall of Adam, the world has not been in its dedicated place that the Most High would want it to be. So the Most High, his contingency plan that he's working on. So Genesis 21 to continue it all. And the Lord visited Sarah excuse me. These mics are, excuse me. And the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken, for Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old. You see that, in the Torah and the law too, but this is the origins of it. Reading Genesis, you'll definitely see the same things that you read in Leviticus, the same things, the ordinances that the Most High gave to Moses. If you have an eye to see, and ears to hear, you'll see that the same law is being applied, but in a narrative model. No different than when you get out of the law. Well, this is the law, but when you get out of the actual instructions of the law, like Leviticus and Deuteronomy, but you see that more throughout the scriptures in the history. Genesis is Torah, but it's also history as well too. So again, keep that eye so you can see these things in First Kings, Second Kings, First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, even the prophets, Ezra, Nehemiah. Keep an eye open. You'll see the law is laced and written throughout the scripture as it should be. So 8 days, the beginning of the token of the Most High's covenant. Verse 4, son Isaac being 8 days old, as God commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old, and when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God had made me laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. Now, this is a laughter in retrospect that turned out more positively, because at first Sarah was like, matter of fact, it wasn't just Sarah, Abraham or Abram, he had chuckled a little bit too. But the Most High said, you know what? I got something for y'all. This is the name of your kid. And it came to pass, and that was the name that Isaac got, because that was not the testimony, the landmark, I guess, the landmark and personality concerning this particular son. So he, they would remember, and it's a great thing to remember, because it just allows you to know how the Most High can do anything at any point in time beyond what you think. Your science says, oh, this can't happen at, science. Science is pretty definite in its laws and such, but I mean, you already have instances in the scriptures where the sun itself can stand still. How much more can the Most High tweak his own laws and creation to his bidding, or to his blessing and comfort, to whatever, mercies? It's amazing. But at this particular point in time, it was based on laughter, and now it's a more, again, retrospect, positive laughter that Isaac was named as such. The Most High, he did it. He did it beyond the old age that nobody else can normally do this. He can, and he did, and that was, the landmark around Isaac's name. Verse 6, and Sarah said, God had made me laugh, and so all they hear will laugh with me, including us. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? for I have borne him a son in his old age, like with those sciences and such. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. Verse 9. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which had borne unto Abraham, mocking. So a lot of times in scriptures, you may not catch it, but there's a lot of intermission time that doesn't get accounted for. It kind of it may appear to jump scenes, but you guys are used to that. Y'all watch sitcoms and television shows, season upon season. Some of you, not all of you, but you know how it goes with the just maybe a basic half an hour sitcom. You got one scene right here, another scene that's a minute to that, and then you got a commercial break, and then your scene is like 8 hours later, or a day or two or a week later. We got that in the scriptures too. Keep an eye and an ear for that. So at this point in time, Hagar's son, much older, Ishmael, he's about 14, probably older than 14 at this point in time now. He's mocking the chosen, the firstborn of Abraham, and Sarah, and this is the judgment, basically. Well, not judgment, but this is just the destiny, for this. Verse 10. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. So yeah, full confidence in the Most High and his promise, with Isaac, and mocking him, Ishmael, didn't make it any better, but it would have been, either way it would have went down, it would have went down. Ishmael was not be able to have the same, inheritance. Even though he's the firstborn, he was not the chosen. He was not the chosen born of the Most High. So they had to get sent out and sent away and do their own thing. Verse 11. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. Now, on the flip side, Sarah in all faith, and I guess you would say it's easier for Sarah because I didn't give birth to that kid. It's not the same. Not to say that she didn't have maybe a little bit of love, but definitely not as much as his mama and his actual daddy, because that kind of hurt Abraham, on a emotional, human, fleshly tip. And there's nothing wrong with those things. You can have those feelings, but it's about channeling them and putting them in submission to the will of the Most High. That's all that, this human condition that we go through, and these examples that we see, that's our goal. I know that's my goal for sure too, is putting these feelings and the human condition in subjection to the will of the Most High. It ain't comfortable, but it gots to, and it can be done. And for our generation, we definitely got to train at it. Got to train that and exercise that holiness and that righteousness. But Abraham, man, he had it, but he had his weaknesses too. And he said unto Abraham, verse 11, excuse me. And the thing was very grievous unto Abraham's sight because of his son. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah has said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So Sarah correcting that point. And also of the son of the bondwoman, I will make a nation because he is thy seed. So again, the Most High is the Most High is everything. He's definitely that love, but he's definitely that wrath and terror too. He knew just what to comfort Abraham with this particular son. He said, look, I'm gonna make him a nation. I'm gonna give him, his just dues and his wealth, but he's just got to go his separate way. So that was enough. Man, that was enough for Abraham to be like, okay, cool. I'm glad that you comfort being that way. And the Most High can definitely comfort you the same way, especially when you're on point like Abraham. But, as we continue to grow in righteousness, don't think that don't think that your grievances the Most High can't comfort. You just got to accept, and that's probably another hardest thing for our generation, because I feel like sometimes we want more than the Most High is willing to put out. But when He does put out that comfort, take that, take that and hold on to that, and that's how you, again, keep your human condition in check. So, yeah, verse 13, He's going to make a nation out of him because of he is thy seed. Verse 14, and Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. So she was definitely losing faith. And she went and sat her down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. Interesting, being that this kid would be an archer. And for she said, let me not see the death of the child. She sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. And again, another instance in the human condition, which again is perfectly fine. The human condition is perfectly fine, because guess what? That's the balance in the light and the dark in us, in spite of the knowledge of good and evil that we were not supposed to know. But this is the thing that keeps us in subjection to the Most High. I would say that as much as we fight against it from completely turning us full dark side, it's something that has to be ultimately contained. It has to be contained by the holiness and the righteousness of the Most High. But again, we can go to the book of Ecclesiastes and talk about, Solomon saying, not being over righteous and everything like that. We still have to, and even Job as well too. We have a limitation. So it's not to abandon your humanness and your humanity, but it's about an order, a hierarchy. The Most High called us, gods of a sense, but in that being said, with our godhood, we still have a position and a role to play, and something that's hardwired within us to keep us, that should keep us humble, to self-check, and that is, again, that human condition. But all that's being said, the Most High is there for that human condition. The Most High is there. You don't have to crash out. You don't have to be forward, and abandoning the Most High. The Most High's got you with that comfort. That's what He does. That's what He does, and that's how He's Big Papa. That's why He's the Father. He's got you, more than you can get yourself. So from Abraham, now Hagar is going to get that comfort. That's all I wanted to introduce. Verse 17 and chapter 22. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. So things like that, in the scriptures, especially Genesis of all things, it's supposed to not take away your chosenness and your glory in the Most High, but it's supposed to help you to basically understand the part of the covenant. The Most High said, look, I'm going to increase your seed upon the face of the earth, and to them, the other nations are going to look to them. So the Most High has a plan not only for his top dog people on the world, but for the rest of the people in the world as well, too. It's just the Most High is not personally dealing with the other nations. So it's a whole big, debate within Israel, and divisions, about the other nations being saved, or God doesn't care about the other nations. You got the Isaiah scripture. He likens them into like a drop in the bucket, which is all very true. That's the Most High's personal feelings, and because He chose us, Israel. But at the same time, the Most High knows, being the Most High and a God, He has a duty. He has a duty to His creation. These other nations, at the end of the day, are His creation. He's just not playing around with them like that. He's got other forces and powers for that. And Israel, at the end of the day, and as you see all throughout Genesis, just through Abraham alone, is that mediator. We're now the work, and that's what makes us a God. God's basically, we're God's other nations, but the God of the Most High, Yahweh, is still God to us. So that's what that being said. So Hagar consoled. Verse 22. And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. So see, man, Genesis is low-key like a reflection of what's to come in the future when the kingdom of heaven is established on earth. This is how these other nations are going to see us. Again, they're not seeing the Most High, but they're seeing us to see the Most High. And that's where you have that prophecy in Micah going, every man is going to, put their, beat their swords into plowshares, and every man is going to, come unto their God, which is different various, leaders and peoples within Israel. And those gods, are going to seek our God, Yahweh. So again, it's a whole big hierarchy concerning the other nations, and not to get into the subject of is salvation for the other nations. We just had a conversation about it. It's degrees, it's really not. They're not really being saved from anything like that we need to be saved from. But in a small degree sense, sure. But maybe we could use a different word, like the other nation be comfort. The other nations will be comforted, from their sinful nature, their human condition. They're going to be comforted by us that are going to keep them in check as we are getting salvation. That's more in line with the will of the Most High. So Abimelech and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all thou doest. Now therefore swear unto me here by God that thou wilt not deal falsely with me. Of course not. I keep God's laws. Now, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. So he's like, off the back, I agree. But now Abraham's about to pull up like, okay, look, I agree with this, but I have something against, I have a point against you. And he's about to let it be known. Again, that business aspect of him. Verse 25, and Abraham reproved Abimelech, which means he corrected him. And he's like, okay, cool, but I'm bringing out this out because what? I have a grievance. I have an offense that I need to bring to your attention that needs to be rectified. Since you're talking about, all these blessings that you want me to give to you, through the Most High, well, I need you to rectify this. This is what Abraham is basically talking about. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not who had done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today. So Abimelech, which is the king of his people, is like, oh man, look, I had nothing to do with your grievance. Whoever took your well violently from you and, your household and your peoples. I did not know. I didn't make no plans of, war type stuff like that. I barely heard about this right now. Like he's straight up, this other nation of a person. These are actually crazy enough. Actually, these are Philistines. If you know anything about the Philistines, the relationship kind of went sour, he said, keep my kindness to my son and my son's son. The relationship went a little bit sour after the son's son, as you read in the future. But again, these are all foreshadowings of what's to come in the world. But let's continue. And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 ewe lambs which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs thou shalt take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there swear both of them. So basically, he's like, look, all right, I believe you. I believe you had nothing to do with this. This is just the wickedness of the human condition that, we're all kind of, dealing with or looking at. So he's like, that's cool. So look, just in case you forget, keep these keep these sheep. This is going to be a witness that, this is my well. This is my doing. It's mine. It's in my inheritance. Don't, breach this, landmark, don't breach my landmark. This is my territory. Wherefore he called the place Beersheba. 32. And thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up and Phicol, the chief captain of his hosts, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. Just in case you wanted the scriptural proof, these were Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. So that's basically a grove and a well in a place like it may not have been too much of a desert, but it could have been something like of an oasis, pretty much. You got an oasis in that situation, so that's cool. I'm pretty sure they weren't by the Euphrates River or the Tigris, so these wells throughout the Fertile Crescent are important. They're important because you can't be an agriculturalist, horticulturalist, or a shepherd without your animals having a source of water to drink. The water is very important. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days. Now, chapter 22. And it came to pass, transition, some time has passed. We don't know the exact time offhand, but when you get into things like counting the age numbers, like when Abraham, had Isaac, or when he had Ishmael, and then whatever age, was in time, you can calculate those things. But again, you have to, when you do the math, you'll know. But just what time has passed at this point in time. And it came to pass out of these things that God did tempt Abraham, test him, tempt him, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now thy son, and thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains, which I will tell of thee. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, trusted, I'm sure, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offerings, and rose up and went to the place which God had told him. So now he's on a journey. And you'll see right now, verse 4. Then on the 3rd day, 3 days journey, can you imagine maintaining the faith of that just in your head, just like the mental, emotional, spiritual battle that you're doing with, even though we know Abraham's remained faithful to the end, but just anybody else, imagine anybody else with that task, and you have 3 days to do it. You might be like Saul and be like, bail out at the last minute, like get antsy and anxious and just done for. But again, that's not the goal, especially when you have a direct word from the Most High. I'm pretty sure that's not too many people nowadays, but like, man, a direct from the Most High. It was definitely needed, I'm sure, for Abraham at his time. It would be nice to have a direct word from the Most High. That's all I could say. Even this word, this Bible is his direct word, but man, just to hear him in your voice, like a righteous schizophrenic, I bet a lot of people wish for that. On the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. So they're still traveling and trekking. All right, boy, here, hold this. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went, both of them, together. And they came to the place where God had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood. So, a flat surface or something like that. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. Now, I'm not sure how close that knife was. Maybe it was like over there on the side. He grabbed it, and then this is what happened. But a lot of depictions be like he had the knife and he was like, a millisecond away. I don't know. We don't have that direct visual. That's a mystery for the most part. But either way, it was intervened. From the touching of the knife to the spilling of blood, that process was intervened by an angel of the Most High, as it says in 11. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven. Now, man, I love just describing the angelic scenes in the scriptures because it's just things that you need to look for. You can look for even in the world we live in today. So just to prove and to verify these scriptures. But you literally have, not a messenger, that came in human form or even, like a man of God type deal. You literally have a voice in the sky, in the heavens, that's shouting down to you like, hey, like, hey, out from the sky, like, man, and comprehend, saying, don't do that. Like, hey, stop, don't. That's amazing, man. That's supernatural, basically. That's paranormal. That's supernatural. It's amazing. Verse 12 still. 11. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Jireh, as it is said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. So, quick little tidbit, that's the name of the Most High right there, Jehovah, or if you want the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh Jireh. That's literally the name, the title of the Most High that was known to Abraham at this point in time, pronounced right there. So that's a important precept, for you guys to prove the name of the Most High, because again, we are in the business here at True Nation to correct false doctrines, and when you know the truth, you gotta go forward with the truth, and the Most High's name, like his name being Ahiah, that's not it. Ahiah is a title, but not the actual personal name of the Most High. The personal name of the Most High and the revealed name to his chosen people is not a title, that the other nations may know him as, like in whatever polytheistic system where they don't even give him the Most High, but the Most High's personal name that he chose Israel to reveal, or Israel and the predecessors, Abraham and the like, is Jehovah, or Yahweh, And that's important to know. And proof is in the pudding right there in scriptures. Verse 15. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven, still out of the sky. Amazing. The second time, and he said, by myself have I sworn, saith the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of the enemies. Let me read that again. I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. That means when the scriptures talk about gates and everything like that, think about your security job if you ever worked at it. It's access control. A good security guard is there to give access or to deny access, to loose or to bound. That's power right there. That's control. So that's what he's saying. Hey, your seed have the gate to his enemies. So they may be his enemies, but guess what? He can switch them on and off whenever he wants. They're not going to have the same authority and power as you. He's got them in check. So you're going to have a Abraham and Abimelech type situation with these people. Because again, too, even the subordinates of Abimelech, not himself, but his people still violated Abraham. There's still something about the other nations that is not special like the Most High. The Most High, again, through training and conditioning, he made us, he made us into the gods. He's making us into the gods that we're supposed to be, obviously after surveying, being like, who's worthy to be actually trained up in this way? Abraham. So that's the difference between our lineage and the other nation's lineage. They need us to be gatekeepers to their human condition. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Again, this is the purpose that the Most High is using us for upon the face of the earth, including with the other nations. There's gonna be an order needed for us to make this place pleasing to the Most High again. Because thou hast obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. Verse 20. And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, behold, Milcah, she hath also borne children unto thy brother Nahor. So Abraham has a brother from his father Terah, Nahor, because remember, Abraham in the earlier beginnings, Nahor wasn't really, spoken of. It was Abraham's nephew from this brother, Lot. Abraham took Lot. Lot went away from Nahor. And now we're dealing with Lot's father, Abraham's brother. Verse 21. Huz, his firstborn, and Buz, his brother, and Kemuel, the father of Aram, and Chez, and Hazo, and Pildash, and Jilap, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begat Rebekah. These 8 Milcah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother. And his concubine, whose name was Reumah, she bare also Teba, and Gaham, and Thrahash, and Maka'ah. So these are all part of a lineage of Semitic peoples. That's why it was said, oh, Abraham, your brother, through Shem, your brother and their families through the lineage of Shem, not Ham, not Japheth, not, whatever giants and stuff like that. It's Shem. Verse 24, and his concubine, we read that. Chapter 23. And Sarah was 107, and 20 years old. So 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba. The same as Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Man, yep, you just losing the wife of I believe for Abraham more than 40 years. About 40 years they've been married, up to that point. Verse 3. And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And this is the response of the children of Heth. Again, a foreshadowing of the world to come. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us. Remember what I said earlier in the lesson? It's nobody just calls you a prince just because they want to flatter you or compliment you. To be an actual prince, you have to be on the same tip that Abraham was on in so many different dynamics, but to simplify it, on a financial dynamic and on a spiritual connection dynamic. Abraham had all that. So he had the respect of these other nations, and even a fear as well, too, knowing that they knew Abraham's God. They rest assured, these other nations, the Philistines, these sons of Heth, they have their gods, But if you look at world history, the other nations, most peoples are unless they choose one in particular, but knowing others, they're polytheistic. They kind of waver. You got a family, head of household. Maybe this is the established God that we worship, but then you turn around and have one of your sons or a son's son be like, I'm gonna go with this God, as I separate and make my own family. So you have these instances with these other nations, aware of Yahweh's existence, but not giving him the respect that he needed until they met Abraham. And through Abraham, they began to know Yahweh a little bit better. But again, this is what these peoples are saying to him. None of these people are chosen, but this is how they feel about the chosen one. Hear us, my Lord, thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres, graves, bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulture, but that thou mayest bury the dead. So basically, Abraham's like, he's getting the VIP pass. They're like, man, you're a great dude. Like we respect you. Here, you don't gotta even to ask like that. You should have just almost damn near demanded it. But we got you. That was the attitude that these people that he was sojourning with had for him. Obviously, it wasn't nothing for free. Abraham definitely had to have put in some work and some business with these people. But what it did was they liked it, and they were willing to be like, this is an easy thing to ask, to honor your wife. That's fine. Verse 7, and Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying, if it be in your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat for me to Ephron, the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of the field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it to me for possession of a burying place among you. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth. And Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went in the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my Lord, hear me. The field I give thee, and the cave that is therein, I give it to thee. In the presence of the sons of my people, I give it to thee. Bury thy dead. And Abraham bowed himself before the people of the land. He spoke unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, My Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels. Man, Abraham was the one offering the money. And Abraham knows how to move in holiness and righteousness. He knows he's got to pay these people because he knows what business is all about. He's like, if I just did this for free, they're gonna probably ask something grievous of me. So I just rather not be in debt. I'd rather just be in a fair exchange. That land that you have is precious. I want it. It's the best of the best. But I'm also willing to compensate you for it. I'm gonna pay you. So what's the value of the land? So now Ephron's like, all right, well, I would have just gave it to you because you're that guy. You're a great prince among the people and such like that. But since you're asking, it is worth this much that I'm about to tell y'all in the scriptures. Verse 15. My Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is it that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant, a merchant indeed. And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field, and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field that were in all the borders round about were made sure. Like made sure. There's nothing you could do to take this back, even if you wanted to take it back. I paid for it. Unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. Verse 19, and after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre. The same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And in the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. So again, how are you really supposed to deal with the other nations? And guess what? For all y'all naysayers out there, even Esau as well too, the so-called white man. So much to the fact that the scriptures literally have a law in the Most High's grand viewing of everything, especially for us nowadays, realizing who he is and what he's done to us. The Most High still says, look, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. Obviously, recompense is going to be done to recompense, especially on a personal level. But he's like, look, don't go out of your way to just hate these people, because this is how you're supposed to be dealing with them. Because even though in Romans, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated, he still wants you to deal with them in a way that's not his. Like that hate is, exclusive for the Most High. The Most High saying, but you deal civilly with, we're talking about Esau, but deal civilly with these other nations. Like, just don't go about messing up opportunities that you can make for yourself. Because guess what? Again, we all live in a system. Even though we are the top dogs in this system, we're all human beings still in the system of the Most High. So we all still have to exchange and deal with each other. And a lot of, maybe it's a front, maybe it's just a social media front, and people just want to vent, anonymously per se on social media. But you have a lot of dumb stuff that's being said, by a good amount, not a lot. You have a good amount of dumb stuff being said by Israelites in the Israelite community, and their just voracious hatred towards the other nations, even to the point of thinking probably a small amount now, it's 2025, thinking that they're going to torture, their servants, these other heathens, the other nations, in the kingdom, which is not so. Literally in the law, and not only the law, but what you see in this history in Genesis, you don't treat people sinfully. You don't treat people sinfully. Yes, there's a sense of respect that you don't necessarily have to demand. That's just going to come through your holiness and your righteousness, and the other nations are just going to they're just gonna receive that as you emanate it. But there's no reason to go out of your way to just hate the other nations, which is hopefully something that is getting better within the Israelite community, but definitely something that I noticed when I first came through, and it's just for a while you kind of just like go with the flow, but some things you kind of just be like, this doesn't seem right. But you read and then you read the scripture, oh yeah, that's not right. That's not the right attitude. So again, correct that attitude. You have Abraham to look as an example with many nations, from Egyptians to Philistines to Hittites, that he dealt with cordially, even beyond cordially, actually. Abraham was bowing down to them, to show respect. So Abraham wasn't no, fake dude. At the time, he had wisdom, and his wisdom was enough to keep him humble in the sight of the other nations, and they loved him for that. And that's what we got to emulate too, even with even with Esau, at times when it's required. Chapter 24. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house that ruled over all he had, Put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, Hamites even, among whom I dwell. But thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. So clearly there's, and I'm not saying all Shemitic peoples, because look at Ishmael today. Abraham understood that, look, I'm the guy that Most High is dealing with, but guess what? I'm the guy that still came from this lineage from Shem. These other lineages from Canaan to Japheth, the Most High, the fact that I was chosen from this lineage says something about the teachings that were passed down from my lineage from not Seth, from Shem. These other lineages, they don't got it. they don't got it like we do. So keep my seed within our Shemitic lineage, and particularly, specifically, my family, from my father Terah. From my father Terah, and my brother Nahor, which we explained earlier, that's where you're going to go get this wife from my son from, because at least I know what they be on and whatever. I'm pretty sure Abraham had communication with his father was dead, but Nahor, I'm pretty sure there was some type of communication in all the years, of sojourning within the land and such like that. Like it's family stuff. It's no different than your own extended family. You got those 10-year family reunions and stuff like that. You see people you don't really know too much, but you remember like in some pictures and stuff like that. Abraham, I'm sure that we come from him, had the same thing going on. So he knew about Nahor and that family. It's like I'd rather deal in safety with what I know than what I don't know. Because some of these Canaanites are into some weird as you'll see in Deuteronomy, which y'all read for yourselves. So yeah, no daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell. Verse 4, and thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. And the servant said unto him, Peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto the land. Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou camest? And Abraham said unto him, Beware thou that thou bring not my son thither again. So that's interesting. That's an interesting little mystery there. Hopefully the Most High will give me understanding that later. But he said, look, if he doesn't want her, don't bring him back. Don't bring him back. Verse 7, the Lord God of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath. Only bring not my son thither again. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, and swear unto him concerning this matter. I promise. That was what happened and went down. Verse 10. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master and departed, for all the goods of his master were in his hands. And he arose and went into Mesopotamia. That's crazy. That's the first time I've noticed they said Mesopotamia in this instance. Usually they say it's Shinar, the land of Shinar or Babylon. But Mesopotamia in general, real history, you could look it up on Wikipedia and Encarta Encyclopedia or Britannica. Mesopotamia, real land place, the real landmark in history, world history, secular world history. Unto the city of Nahor. Excuse me. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that women go out to draw water. So clearly, there was some type of cultural understanding within the Shemitic culture that women function in this way. They go and gather the water at evening. So that's all the way back to Book of Proverbs, Proverbs 31 woman, a hardworking woman that is a help in the way that she needs to be helped. Ain't no shame to the game when it comes to a little bit of labor, clearly, as we see in the culture of scriptures. And he said, O Lord, God of my master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this day and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw the water. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink. And she shall say, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. Let the same be she that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac, and thereby shall I know that thou hast showed kindness unto my master. So this servant is taking after the likeness of his master Abraham. This servant is being so faithful and so direct as to tell the Most High, look, if this and this and this and this and this and this goes down, then I'll know that this is going to be the wife of my master's son. And he's being very specific. Like, look, she's got to feed my camels and everything. She's got to come to this well, and it's got to go down like this. And then surely I'll know. So the servant is the one basically, essentially calling the shots. Now again, I'll say this: it was culturally, it was more likely a thing that was culturally understood that like the best of the best of a woman that's to be a wife is going to operate like this anyway. They're going to do things that are, obviously unmarried. They're going to do things unto people or unto even just men in general, not in a promiscuous way, but things that are wifely, things that are commendable to make you even want to be chosen rather than, I believe in today's standards, you just have to be beautiful. And beauty is all good and stuff like that, but beauty was a secondary thing. More so in our culture, it was the real cliche, but the real beauty was your ability to be a help, basically. So that's why this servant's like, look, if the woman, we read it, I'm trying to explain it in layman's terms. Sometimes it's more difficult, but basically, if she does A, B, C, D, then I'm gonna know that this is the woman for my master's son Isaac. And lo and behold, this is what happens. Verse 14, the lo and behold part. And it let it come to, excuse me. Check, mic check. Calm. We're going to read verse 15, not 14. And it came to pass before he had done speaking that, behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother. On point. With her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair to look upon. Oh, let's look at that. Very fair and, as we're going to see, capable of being a wife. You got the best of both worlds. Some people only get one. and to look upon a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, Let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, Drink, my lord. And she hasted and let down her pitcher upon her hand and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also, until they have done drinking. And she hasted and emptied her pitcher into the trough and ran again unto the well to draw water and drew for all his camels. And the man, wondering at her, held his peace, to wit whether the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring of a half shekel's weight and 2 bracelets for her hand of 10 shekels weight of gold, and said, Whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee, is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? So automatically, the Most High answered, the request of this servant. Like, this was the sign, and he called the sign. He's like, look, if she does these things, A, B, C, D, then I'm gonna know that that's where I need to go. And she did, not through his doing, but this was just the way destiny set itself up. She did exactly as the man had called it to the Most High as a sign for him, but she didn't know, but it was a sign to the servant to know that this is where I go. And I believe things like these are amazing. This is a level of faith in the Most High that we are steadily getting ourselves into, because again, the Most High is not always dealing with us from a voice from heaven, from the angel. The Most High is not always dealing with us, in a righteous, schizophrenic way, hearing, the voice in the head. Sometimes the Most High is dealing with signs, in the world. And this, even though she's a human being, this was a sign. Her actions was a sign to this servant of Abraham, and now he went forward confidently, knowing that this is where I need to go. It's low-key no different than in the priest ephod, the Urim and Thummim. Those were stones that were for signs. Yes or no. The Most High definitely communicates with us, those that are holy enough with us in those ways too. So now he's being like, hey, I need to go to does your father's house have room to lodge? And now she's like, I'm the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. She said, moreover unto him, we have both straw and provender enough, and room to lodge in. And the man bowed down his head and worshiped Yahweh. Man, I can only imagine, you can only understand why. And he said, Blessed be the Lord Yahweh, my master Abraham, who hath not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I being in the way, Yahweh led me to the house. Again, Yahweh led me to the house of my master's brethren. And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house these things. So Laban's greeting. Laban is not the father. Laban is actually the brother of Rebekah. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man, unto the well, and it came to pass, when he saw the earring and the bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, Thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. So basically, Rebekah and the servant are going to recall to the family, everything that happened. Like, hey, look, I'm coming from here, from my master Abraham, and as a witness, with the Most High be my witness, I prayed for such and such to happen, and this such and such happened with your daughter Rebekah. So so now I put these, nice jewelries, on her to basically betroth her, and I want your guys' acceptance too. Betroth her to my master's son Isaac. This is the dialogue that's going on now as the servant of Abraham goes into the household of Nahor. First dealing with Laban and all that. So this is this is basically explained for the next 10, 15 verses. So it's a little repetitive, and I'm a jump around. I'm a jump around with you for you guys. But basically, it's reiterating the same thing that the servant asked in real time a chapter ago. No, about 10 or 20 verses ago. Verse 32, and the man came into the house and ungirded his camels and gave straw and provender for the camels and water to wash his feet and the men's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat, but he said, I will not eat until I have told mine errand. And he said, speak on. And he said, again, I'm Abraham's servant. The Lord blessed me and my master greatly. My wife, Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son who is Isaac, yadi dadi dadi, giving the whole lineage spill. Let's jump down. I'm gonna just check. I'm gonna read 43 for you, verse 43 for you guys, just to know that he's basically explaining everything that just happened to the family. Verse 43: Behold, I stand by a well of the water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin cometh forth to draw water, and I say to her, give me, I pray thee, a little water of thy pitcher to drink, and she say to me, both drink thou, and also I will draw for thy camels. Let the same be the woman whom the Lord hath appointed out for my master's son. So he's basically like, look, it's a sign. This is destiny. This is destiny that this happened. And I got to explain the destiny to you. I prayed for this to exactly happen for the Most High. Y'all heard this, Bill, and it happened. It was a sign. I gotta explain this to you. So it's a lot of repetition going on. Just what do we got to do? We got to prove things to people. So this is one of the ways that the servant did. Excuse me, this is Mike, man. We're going to skip on a little bit forward. Verse 50. So after the whole conversation explaining what happened, verse 50. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, the thing proceedeth from the Lord, Yahweh. We cannot speak unto thee bad or good. It's just like, oh, that's a real matter of fact. That's how destiny works. When things that are set up from the beginning come to play and you see the glory and the strings attached that the Most High put into place, you just realize how glorious it is, but you don't really understand. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it's definitely of the Most High. This was not a man's volition. This was of God. God orchestrated this, and we're just going along with it. So I don't know if this is good or bad, but I believe you. With this. So we're going to see how this plays out. That's how the family's reacting. 51, behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be thy master's son's wife, as the Lord has spoken. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshiped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth. What an amazing, great God. You can only imagine, like, dang, how fearful that you do these things and orchestrate beyond my control. I have no control over these things. Verse 53, and the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother's precious things. Verse 54, and they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning and said, send me away unto my master. Just one day of partying. And her brother and her mother said, let the damsel abide with us a few days, at least 10. After that she can go. And he said unto them, look, hinder me not, man. Seeing the Lord, excuse me, this is a great servant. This is a great servant. We don't even know his name. But hinder me not. Seeing the Lord hath prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master. And they said, we will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth. So, all right, we'll let her see. If she wants to say 10 days, she's saying 2 days. If she wants to go, she can go. 58. And they called Rebekah and said unto her, wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men, and they blessed Rebekah, and said unto her, thou art our sister. Be thou the mother of thousands of millions, and let thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them. Man, they got to understand prophecy too. They need to understand y'all low key might be that gate, might be those enemies at one point in time too. So they basically saying, yeah, go possess us. And Rebekah arose and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels and followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah and went his way. 62, verse 62. So again, scene transition. You know what it is. Y'all watch the sitcoms. Scene transition. And Isaac came from the way of the well Lahai Roi, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel gracefully. And she had said unto the servant, what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. So she knew exactly what to do to basically fulfill destiny and to be like, I got to be wife material right now for this dude. So she knew the right cards to play, which is the Proverbs 31, a righteous wife, righteous woman cards to play. She knew what to do. She covered herself. The servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So, again, it was like, as far as the scriptures are saying, stuff was like cut through like butter. It was just on time, on point, the Most High's timing. It was just aligned, as the saying goes, the stars have aligned. That's a song. But that's what people say. But this is how destiny works. That's how destiny just plays out. And destiny is you can't call it for good or for bad, as Nahor's family has said. It can be a terrifying or a glorious thing, destiny, and we're all walking through it even at this moment, myself included. Chapter 25. Then again, Abraham, scene transition, intermission. Abraham took again another wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare to him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua, and Jokshan, and begat Sheba, and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan, Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian were Ephah, and Epher, and Hanak, and Abdidah, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. So Abraham had a lot of kids. At that point, he just did not stop. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son while he yet lived, eastward into the east country. So man, crazy thing to go through all that just to send them away. But well, that's what happened. Verse 7. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life when he lived, 160 years. Okay, so in wisdom, obviously, Abraham lived a lot longer from the death of his wife Sarah to his eventual death too. So as a man, I'm pretty sure he wanted that companionship, and as a woman who gave him that companionship, I'm pretty sure she wanted the kids and everything like that. So the deal was, okay, well, I need this and you want this, but by the time the things I need to come to pass, I gotta send you guys away. I've been down this road before. Y'all gotta get out of the territorial inheritance of the Most High's covenant. I appreciate the comfort, for the time being that it was, but y'all got to go. Y'all not inheriting the inheritance with my son, my chosen son, and the Most High's promise and blessings. Thanks, peace. That's how Abraham went went down. That's how it went down with all this. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived, 175 years. So that's 175 years. 175 years old, this man lived. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons, Isaac and Ishmael, notice Isaac and Ishmael, not the other sons from Keturah, but the important ones, I guess, in this sense. Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave in Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zoar the Hittite, which is before Mamre. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt by the well Lahai Roi. So all the glory that the Most High had for Abraham, not only did Isaac inherit all that, but he got blessed. Well, that was his blessing, but I'm pretty sure the Most High was blessing Isaac in more than one way as well, too, like how to deal with, take on your father's business, basically, and deal the same way, if not better, that I dealt with the surrounding peoples. That's how Isaac got blessed as well. So in the rest of the chapter, if you guys care to read yourselves, from verse 12 unto verse 18, it gives you Ishmael's descendants, the 12 kings of Ishmael. Again, from 12 to 18, you guys could read that. And then from 19 and onward, which is where we're actually going to stop, because this is when Isaac gives birth to his sons, Jacob and Esau. And I'll read that right now, actually. Verse 19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. So again, you all can do this biblical math and, get exact dates and points and see how long intermissions and stuff like that were. I like doing that stuff, but to figure out how old the earth was. That was how I was kind of playing it. But you guys can, do that as well, or do that whatever you want with the numbers as well too. He was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram. So she was considered a Syrian by nation, even though she was the niece of Abraham. She was not a Hebrew. She was a Syrian. So the Most High made a specific cultural distinction from Abraham and onward. Like, you're a Hebrew, you're no longer a Chaldean, you're not going to be a Syrian, you're a Hebrew, you're set apart. And then the set apart seed, Israelites, they're going to be Hebrew Israelites. So Abraham was a Hebrew, Isaac was a Hebrew, Jacob was a Hebrew, Esau is a Hebrew. 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And through the birth of Esau and Jacob. And when her days were to be delivered and were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And that love from Rebekah would prove to be important. And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. So you see, Esau basically gets a title, like, oh, because your actions of what you've done, you're going to also be called Edom, because look at you. I mean, not only are you reddish, like, reddish in color. I'm pretty sure you had a little bit of brown melanin, but you're reddish, like light skin. Like you're on some light skin tip. Feed me, but you're also going to be called Edom because you want this raw food, this raw red pottage. This food is not cooked, and you want to eat it, and you're willing to trade your birthright because you're hungry for it. Bet. That's what Jacob said. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I'm at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Verse 26. And there was a famine in the land, beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him, and said, go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries. And I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham your father, make your seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Again, the goal, the Most High's overarching goal that a lot of people seems to go past them. Because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So Isaac's deception. Subtitle. And Isaac dwelt in Gerar, and the men of the place asked him of his wife. And he said, she is my sister. For he feared to say, she's my wife, taking on the same nature and the same habits as his daddy, Abraham. Abraham did that twice with the Egyptians and with some Canaanites, each one situation worse than the others. But now Isaac's doing the same thing because, again, these are godless people. They're probably going to kill me if they find out you are my wife. It'd just be better to call you my sister, and they can take you, and the Most High can work his magic from there, basically, because you are my wife. But I'm not going to tell them that. The Most High is going to judge them because I'm a righteous guy. She's my wife, lest she said the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah because she was fair to look upon. So either I'm going to kill you for her, or I'm going to just kidnap your sister. Kidnapping her is better for you. That was the reasoning. And it came to pass, well, not even the reasoning, that was just the reality, and that was the wisdom, rather. That was the reasoning and wisdom. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out of a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah his wife. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, behold, of a surety she is thy wife. And how saidest thou, she is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, because I said, lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, what is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lied with thy wife, and thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, he that toucheth this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. So I'm curious to know whether this is the same Abimelech, because this is, again, if Abimelech is as a title, which the Bible likes to do a lot, it doesn't give you people's actual names. It gives you like their titles, their respect within their communities. So whether this was the same Abimelech that Abraham met, since Abraham died, I'm pretty sure the other Abimelech died. Abraham lived a long life. The Most High blessed him with that. It would be safe to say that this was probably a protege of the original Abimelech. But he had the same similar thing going through him that Abraham had for his people. 12. Then Isaac sowed in the land and received in the same year 100-fold. And the Lord blessed him, and the man waxed great and went forward and grew until he became very great. So again, that blessing by the Most High. Isaac's getting that same business savvy, that dominion over the earth that was promised in Genesis chapter 1 or 2. For he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and great store of servants, workers, and the Philistines envied him. For all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines had stopped them and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. Oh man, so now you see it's a slow, the same respect wasn't shown for Isaac as when it was with Abraham. So it definitely had to be a different generation, because you see the same, well, not the same, but a different Abimelech say, look, make sure that, y'all show kindness to me. Show kindness to me, my son, and my son's sons. Keep this kindness for generations. But it just took one generation and a new, when you have one generation of the righteousness, the wicked people, they have a new generation too. So all it took was one generation to forget what was expected in a covenant from, your daddy and stuff like that, for you to be like, yeah, I know he said that, but I'm going to go about doing like this. I'm not going to respect his word. That's what you have going along with this Abimelech and Isaac now. It's not the same. It's not the same respect, It's not the same respect going on with this. So what do they call it? Racketeering, I guess. White collar crime. That's what these Philistines were starting to do to Isaac and his household and his business. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. And Isaac departed thence and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again the wells of water which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham. And he called their names after the names by which his father called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley and found there a well of springing water. Money. And the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdmen, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with them. And they digged another well and strove for that also. And he called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence and digged another well, and for that they strove not. And he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, For now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. So man, Isaac really was going through it. He didn't have the same respect that his daddy had. He, was rebuilding or redigging the same wells that his daddy had, and he still couldn't get a few of them until it was the right place that the Most High, allowed it to be. So crazy. It's crazy. You see, and you see exactly in Abraham's, wisdom and foresight why he what he did. And not accepting, free land. No, that's not the case. Abraham paid for that, and he paid for it. And not only did he pay for it, but he gave, those lambs as a witness, so that the human condition of forgetting wouldn't happen. But that only went so far. Isaac didn't get the full respect that his father had. Verse 23. And he went up from thence to Beersheba. And the Lord appeared unto him in the same night and said, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and I will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he builded an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there, and there went Isaac's servants dig the well. Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahuzath, one of his friends, and Phicol, the chief captain of his army. And Isaac said unto them, Wherefore come ye to me? seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you. And they said, we saw certainly that the Lord was with thee. And we said, let there now be an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee. Oh, man. So now you see what the problem was. They couldn't see. I guess they were testing Isaac at this point in time, like, is the God of Abraham with his son? Let's wait a minute. Let's treat him as such. And then once they seen Isaac getting blessed, they're like, okay, yeah, we want some of that. Let's make a renewed covenant. Pretty sure this Abimelech probably he wised up and maybe found some documents, from his father or something. And it's like, oh yeah, let's go about it. Let's go about doing things like this. If that's the case, if it's not the same Abimelech, because people can say things to your face, but it'll be a whole nother thing when you die. When you die, and that supposed freedom, like this covenant can't stand. You're dead. But my reasoning is as such. Why would you make such a covenant that would go beyond just your generation? You show kindness to my son and my son's sons. That's my reasoning to believe that this is a different Abimelech. And hopefully y'all will start to use that scriptural reasoning when you read through this Bible as well too. Because again, it is abridged, but through the Spirit of the Most High, the fruits of the Spirit, and even those same spirits in Isaiah 11, might, knowledge, wisdom, and all that. That's what we want when we read this book. It don't come immediately, but it does come through when it needs to. Back to this. Make a covenant with us and with thee. We see the Lord is with you. Verse 29. That will do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee, as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now the blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up betimes in the morning, and sware to one another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass that same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, we have found water. And he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. So obviously you should know in Hebrew, beer means well, or fountain. And Esau was 40 years old. Oh my goodness, look at all this time. Look at all the time that passed through with all this conflict that Isaac had to go through. That means Esau and Jacob were 40 years old. 40 conflict from their birth, and then seeing transition to Isaac prospering, but then losing, all these wells, 40 years. Tell you, man, this Bible is abridged, man. This Bible is abridged. It gives you what you need to know, even though sometimes we want to know a little bit more. 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beri, the Hittite, and Bashima, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite, which were a grief of mine unto Isaac and Rebekah. Why couldn't you just go get some from the line of Shem? And even more than the line of Shem, Nahor. But it is what it was. And with that, you guys, we're going to continue this on next week. Because Isaac, Isaac has a little bit of transition time within Jacob, but the main story with Jacob, basically starts here. And we're going to save that for the next session, third part session next week, from Jacob unto his sons. So with that, you guys, hopefully you got some understanding. Maybe you were even entertained, beyond entertained. The goal is for you to get fed some understanding about what this word says, and hopefully something that you could apply into your own life to be not only Christ-like, but Israelite-like and Hebrew-like as well, too, getting back to your culture. That was hopefully the goal for y'all in this lesson tonight. So with that, you guys, I want to say good night. See you again next week. Most High willing.